Hi, I'm Mr. McMillan. The doctrine of the Incarnation is a belief held by Catholics and nearly all mainstream Christian churches, which states that God took on human flesh in the person of Jesus of Nazareth. The word incarnation comes from Latin and literally means to put on flesh. The Church teaches that the Incarnation was done to show God's love to humanity. In the person of Jesus, God the Son, the second person of the Trinity, entered humanity in order to teach humans how to live, to bring salvation from sin, and to make possible eternal life. Central to the doctrine of the Incarnation is the belief that Jesus was both fully human and fully God. Or to put it another way, Jesus had both a human nature and a divine nature. This makes him a unique being. God the Father has a divine nature, but not a human nature. You and I have a human nature, but not a divine one. Jesus of Nazareth had both a divine nature and a human nature. To put it another way, the Incarnation means that Jesus is the meeting point or intermediary between God and human beings. Jesus had a full human nature and experienced all the normal elements of human life except without sin. He felt hunger and thirst, he felt compassion, he felt fear, and ultimately he suffered and died. In the Gospels, Jesus is often referred to by the title Son of Man. This phrase had two possible meanings. On some occasions, it is used by Jesus to refer to an ordinary human being. However, on other occasions, it is used to refer to a human being who is given God's power and authority. Jesus uses the term in this second way when he refers to his impending execution. Then he began to teach them that the Son of Man must undergo great suffering and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. Mark 8:31. In this way, by identifying the suffering he was to face, Jesus recognizes his human nature. If he were not human, he would not be able to suffer. Jesus also had a truly divine nature. Because he was truly God, he had God's power and authority to forgive sins, to heal the sick, and resurrect the dead. In the Gospels, we also see Jesus referred to as the Son of God. The most notable instance of this was in Jesus' trial before the Jewish High Council, also known as the Sanhedrin. Again, the high priest asked him, "Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One?" Jesus said, "I am, and you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of the power and coming with the clouds of heaven." Mark chapter 14, verses 61 to 62. The phrase Son of the Blessed One is as close as we can get to Son of God, since Jewish people would not have said the name of God out loud, and so often replace the word God with other phrases such as the Blessed One. Jesus' answer, "I am," is also a clue to his divinity, since it is a form of the name that God uses in the Old Testament to identify himself to Moses in Exodus chapter 3. Jesus here confirms that he is God, and it is for this reason that he is crucified. Catholics, however, do not rely solely on the teachings of the Scriptures, but are guided by the teaching authority of the Magisterium, as it reflects on the Scriptures and the apostolic tradition. In the early church, without the benefit of instant communication, it was easy for false teachings or heresies to develop, and it was necessary for the leaders of the church to identify these and then explain why they were wrong. This was normally done by meeting together in a council and then producing a creed or a similar statement which confirms what is the official teaching of the church. When it comes to the Incarnation, there are two heresies that you should know about which both relate to Jesus' two natures. Remember, the church teaches that Jesus has both a divine nature and a human nature. However, these heresies both try to reject one of these claims. The heresy of Docetism rejected Jesus' humanity. According to the Docetists, Jesus was fully divine, but only took on the appearance of a real human being, but was not actually human. They believed that God knew that he could not reveal himself directly to humans who would not be able to cope, so God chose to portray an image of humanity so that humans might be able to understand. In this version, Jesus did not truly feel fear, hunger, or pain, but only gave the appearance that he did so that humans could relate to him. However, this is contrary to church teaching, and the Nicene Creed specifically states that Jesus was incarnate and made man, and also adds that he suffered, thus emphasizing his humanity. The heresy of adoptionism went the other way in rejecting Jesus' divinity. According to this view, Jesus was born an ordinary human being, and then was adopted by God to become his beloved Son, and then was given authority by God to perform miracles, etc. However, ultimately Jesus was still just a human and did not share God's divine nature. He was just closer to God than any other human. The Nicene Creed, however, emphasizes Jesus' divinity when it says that Jesus was consubstantial with the Father, and that Jesus was God from God from true God, these terms leave no doubt over Jesus' divine nature. Finally, another good explanation of the doctrine of the Incarnation comes from the writings of the 3rd century bishop St. Irenaeus. In his text against heresies, he emphasizes several points. Firstly, Jesus is eternal, which means he is not a created being, but is divine. From the beginning, the Son is the one who teaches us about the Father. Secondly, it is through Jesus that humans experience God's grace. Jesus is the meeting point between God and humanity. The Word, who is Jesus, became the steward of the Father's grace for the advantage of men. And thirdly, Jesus shows humans what God is like. The qualities we see in Jesus are qualities of God the Father. He revealed God to men and presented men to God. Thanks for watching. I've been Mr. McMillan.